how many realized that there would be a coordinated effort by all of the assigned leaders from the White House down to take the worst criminals on earth and put them on display for all to see? And they stated it's just the beginning. We're going to get into that today. Do you realize how much more of these evil people will be unveiled across the earth? Their fraud, the money that they stole from all of us, the number of Americans that have been hurt because of it, and more. Do you understand the stress that the enemy must be under at this point? All the people that have robbed us, stole, cheated, lied, and more. Can you imagine what they're going through right now? Woo! It is glorious. Folks, we're at 511,000 followers on Rumble, our go-to channel for free speech, because YouTube continues to take us down all the time. We do have a channel there, and you guys can find it if you look for it. Also, we are, again, up there at the top of the leaderboard, thanks to you hitting that like button for these videos, and we really appreciate all that you're doing there. Now let's get into it.
Breaking news, a Minnesota judge has just sentenced the mastermind behind the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme, Amy Bach. She just got more than 41 years in prison. The prosecution is asking for a 50-year sentence and her defense about 3 years. So that's somewhere in the middle that they got that, but closer to what obviously the prosecution wanted. The scheme involved the theft of nearly $250 million in COVID funding. That money was meant to feed hungry children.
Oh, boy. One at a time. They just round them all up at once. Well, you know, this young lady who's going to prison for 41.5 years is she's been saying some stuff on video.
I honestly believe Keith Ellison and Governor Walz need to be held accountable. There needs to be an investigation done. If they weren't aware, that's concerning.
Bach recently told the New York Post that she struggles to believe that Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar did not know about the fraud. Omar sponsored the legislation that was exploited to make the scam possible. Now, Omar issued a statement yesterday.
So that's all Fox had to tell us. That's all they had to say. Again, this is where I get upset with Fox, just to remind you. They're going to read the statement from Omar.
Now, Omar issued a statement yesterday reading in part, any claim that I had knowledge of the scheme is flat out false. Omar also said she's grateful that Amy Bach and the individuals who defrauded taxpayers and vulnerable children are being held accountable.
So you just had to get that information out from a criminal. Let's read the criminal. Read her quote to the world so we can take care of her. Make sure that she's taken care of now, Fox. Let's go over to an interview that was done with her on all this.
Doing anything, and I think it gives more to the idea that this is just a made-up lie, because you do not investigate someone for 10 years and not come up with anything.
So then why do you think it's still being talked about?
Because these people are disgusting. They believe in weird, creepy things, and that's why they want to believe in this weird.
And
that's all I will say.
No, definitely. Why do you think, I guess, that you're being targeted then? It's
because they're racist, they're xenophobic. I just happen to be Muslim, and you're allowed to continue.
Yeah, they're racist, xenophobic, just this typical stuff that they always say. When you convince voters that investigating fraud is racist, you just smile. Think nothing's going to happen.
She's delusional, and she knows better. She's trying to say she made a mistake on her financial disclosure form. No one makes a $30 million mistake on your financial disclosure form, especially if you don't have any assets. If you're Donald Trump or some very wealthy person, 30 million might be a rounding error. But for someone who alleges now she has nothing, that's a pretty big rounding error. And it all stems around two basic things, the problem she has. First of all, she asked for an earmark for a project that was later proven to be a fraudulent project that was involved in that Somali scam up there. And then second, secondly, she claimed her assets were huge because of this winery that we know has been shut down, that according to rumors and press reports, was defrauding investors.
Yeah, Congressman, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
So let's remember J.D. Vance came out the other day and mentioned that they're going to look into everything that she's been involved in. She was asking for it. Let's just continue with Ilhan Omar and her ilk here.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I listen, suggest all you want. Please investigate all you want, right? Like, to me, I'm not like I'm above the law and how dare you, like, I understand politics. I understand what these people have to do in order to, like, feed their base. Yeah.
So it's all politics. That's all it is. Who cares if I stole millions of dollars from Americans? Who cares if I came from another country and married my brother to, end up staying here? Who cares, right? She acts like she's protected and everything's going to be just fine. Here's Colin McDonald, Assistant Attorney General, National Fraud Enforcement Division.
Today, we are announcing criminal charges against 15 defendants in Minnesota.
15 more.
For fraud schemes that targeted over $90 million in taxpayer dollars. Let me be clear up front about something. This is not the end of our work in Minnesota. This is not the end of the beginning of our work in Minnesota. This is the beginning of our work in Minnesota. The fraud here in Minnesota is shocking. Our cases today involve 7 different state-managed Medicaid programs that have been systematically pilfered by fraudsters who treated Minnesota-run programs as their personal piggy bank. One of the programs has been completely shut down because there's no money left. It's all gone.
I apologize for some of that feedback scratching you're hearing. That's from the video that was uploaded to this, so it won't continue through the entire video, just letting you know.
That was Minnesota's state-run Housing Stabilization Services program, designed to help the homeless find and maintain housing. It was estimated in 2020 that it would cost only about $2.5 million a year to fund this program, but it ended up costing almost 50 times that much, over $104 million by 2024 due to fraud.
$104 million. Just a little bit of money. Who cares if it's 50 times more? I mean, we're just going to continue. You see what happens? They go in, they grab a cookie, and they're like, man, mom and dad didn't catch me. Then they go in and say, I'm going to get 3 more. Get 3 more. And mom and dad's not going to catch me. Before you know it, they eat the whole entire thing. And parents are like, hey, what happened to the cookies?
Due to fraud. And because of all the fraud, Minnesota had to shut the program down in 2025. And now these services no longer exist for these vulnerable homeless populations. The same trends exist for other Minnesota-run taxpayer-funded programs. An autism program that cost the taxpayer $600,000 just 6 years ago skyrocketed to over $400 million.
$600,000 to $400 million. That's a pretty big jump.
And to be sure, that number is not driven by supply and demand. It is not driven by healthcare or charity. It is fraud.
Fraud. Just getting started. I saw this from the White House, a new app logo they sent out, right? Just to kind of highlight something here. Very interesting. As the White House on a disco ball looking thing. And it's kind of connected there to a drop from Captain Kyle Patriot showing the cue board. Music is about to stop. White House phone number. Huh? White House is putting out some comms.
And now my message to the fraudsters is this. Eat, drink, and be merry today. Because your days of frolicking and freedom are numbered. We are doing everything we can to find you. And when we do, we will prosecute you. And we will claw back every dollar you have stolen from the American people. We will not rest until every fraudster knows that the cost of stealing from the American people is far higher than any scheme is worth.
Oh, boy. You know, Colin McDonald there. Do you guys get the sense that he's been looking forward to giving this speech for a long time? Imagine sitting in the office and they're all like, man, I'm going to get out there and I'm about to give this speech. You know what? I've been wanting to put this out for a while. Let me get out there. Go out there and have all the fun you want, because guess what? We're coming for you. Well, one of those got the message. He was running for his life. Let's see if we got it right here. Check this out.
Begin my crux of my remarks. I need your help. On the screen, you will see a subject. You will see a subject depicted on the screen here of an individual who was a target of the investigation this morning. That individual is currently on the run after having jumped out of a fourth story balcony.
Fourth story.
I want you to get a good look at him right now. You'll see him. You'll see him running here.
He's not running. He's
currently
hopping.
On the run.
He's hopping. 4 stories. Old boy is hopping.
Need your help. If you recognize this individual, if you know this individual, if you can provide any information related to this individual, I would encourage you to call 1-800-CALL-FBI, CALL-FBI, or go to the internet at www.tips.fbi.gov, or call your local law enforcement.
He's telling the whole world. This is Christopher Raya, FBI co-deputy director. And I just want to say something, folks. Come on. They got this video of this guy. He jumps from 4 stories, falls down, and now he's hopping because his legs probably, who knows, his ankle's probably broke or something. And then they play it for the world to see. Hoppity hop, hoppity hop, hoppity hop, hop, hop. Hey guys, we're looking for him. You know, he's running. Could you just give us a call if you happen to know where he's at? Go look at Ilhan Omar's district and find out where he's at. Look at Ilhan Omar's phone. See if he's been calling her. Hey, help me. You promised that nothing would happen. And why am I laughing, folks? It's just sad what they've done, but I'm laughing because I really feel like they know where this guy is, but they wanted everybody to see him hippity hopping and all the way across for the world to see. See this guy? He's running. He's running. Oh my goodness. They're showing the world how these criminals behave when they're caught.
Today's arrests represent the largest autism fraud bust in American history. This was not a paperwork error. It was not a technical violation. This was organized threat, organized theft that exploited the most vulnerable children in America. Deceived families stole taxpayer dollars meant to help children with autism access legitimate care and support. Investigators uncovered brazen schemes that billed taxpayers for non-existent services, fraudulent diagnoses, and fake care, while criminals enriched themselves at public expense. Every fraudulent autism diagnosis steals time, care, and resources from the children for whom this program was denied and who desperately need this care.
How about that? We're going to show you, some reminders, some folks that you guys might have remembered that went out there and said, we didn't do anything wrong. The receipts from the White House. I'm going to show you President Trump and maybe something that's playing along there with the Senate as they head out. Some more arrests that have been playing out with the FBI and more. Oh my goodness, folks, we got a lot to cover. They've been charged with fraud in a $4.6 million scheme. Remember this guy? He came out, remember the lady over here, he's staring at him like, please do a good job. Please do a good job. Remember this?
Unfortunately, we saw that there was important documentation, enrollment of the children, and also employee documentation that was gone. There were also checkbooks that were ripped from our check papers that were ripped from our book. This is devastating news. And we don't know why this is targeting our Somali community.
Yeah, it's they're all getting caught one at a time. The White House put this out another day. Another costly Biden era policy terminated. $2.4 billion saved. Your receipt from today's actions, from yesterday's actions, actually. The White House actually put this also, this is the way, Make America Great Again, with the MAGA there on the bottom. Let's go with Dr. Oz.
The 15 arrests today, netting $90 million, is a very important symbol because it's a shot across the bow. And we've all going to say this in our different ways, but I'm telling you, if you're a fraudster, do not walk away from this press conference. Run. Because we are coming after you. We have lots of weapons to be able to use in order to accomplish that. The kinds of reprehensible behavior that we've identified with individuals bribing parents to lie that their children have autism, will carry that diagnosis for the rest of their lives. As a physician, that bothers me to my core. Not only are we selling our licenses as doctors when we allow this to happen, we're selling our souls, and there were doctors involved in some of these issues as well. It's rampant failure of this program is addressable, but we've got to be able to deal with it from within. There's a whistleblower. Her first name is Faye. She's on Capitol Hill today testifying, I believe. But she's spoken to me about the fact that there was a general fear within the health agency here of being called the racist. A fear that you would be politically inappropriate, politically incorrect, and that's fear is what stifled much of the action that should have taken years ago and taken place in an effort to prevent why we're here today. But we will keep coming back and we will keep helping. So
we'll keep coming back. We're going to get you. You better run. Representative Mary Miller put this out. President Trump just cut off illegal aliens from America's financial system. No welfare, no benefits, no banking, no reason to stay. Expect mass self-deportations to follow. This also came out. The House canceled the fourth Democrat attempt to pass a war powers resolution against President Trump's Iran policy. The House Dems are confused and furious. They've tried 4 times to tie Trump's hands and stop him from dealing with the world's #1 sponsor of terrorism. They failed every single time. This is all Democrats do now, is they obstruct. So never solutions, never results, just pure pathetic resistance to anything Trump does. That's from Gunnar Engelman. Thank you so much for that. Also, the reports are saying that Senate Majority Leader John Thune plans to send the Senate home early and keep lawmakers out until June. President Trump put this out. Shockingly, Republicans have kept the very important position of parliamentarian in the hands of a woman, Elizabeth McDonough, who was appointed long ago by Barack Hussein Obama and a vicious lunatic known as Senator Harry Reid, who ran the Senate for the Democrats with an iron fist. Over the years, she has been brutal to Republicans, but not so to the Democrats. So, or he calls them Democrats. So why has she not been replaced? There are many fair people who would be qualified for that vital job. The Republicans play a very soft game compared to the Democrats. It is their single biggest disadvantage in politics. The Democrats cheat, lie, and steal, especially when it comes to votes in elections. But stick together. Whereas the Republicans allow the Elizabeth McDonoughs of the world to stay in power and brutalize us, we need the Save America Act passed and now. And likewise, kill the filibuster, which would give us everything. If we don't pass at least one of these 2 provisions quickly, you will never see another Republican president again. The Democrats will end up with 2 additional states, D.C. and Puerto Rico, and all that entails, including 4 senators, many congressmen, and many additional electoral votes. And they will also get their dream of a packed United States Supreme Court with their most favorite number, 21 justices. The Democrats will eliminate the filibuster on the first day that they get an opportunity to do so. The Republicans aren't doing it because they say the Democrats will never do it, but the Republicans are wrong. Get smart and tough, Republicans, or you'll be looking for a job much sooner than you thought possible. President Donald J. Trump. Now, Kimberly Auer said something about this, saying if May 21st, the last day that both chambers are in, the Senate goes home early today. So starting on Friday, May 22nd, Congress will be shut down for the next 10 days. And so it must be a normal Memorial Day weekend. Think tensions with Iran and Cuba and a drop number 88. And these possibilities, there's others. But the Thune is doing exactly as told, is what she believes. The timing rests with the president. And the reminder that be the autist that you know you are. It's about the break. Godspeed, Patriots. It's about the break, right? And then, of course, you've got shut down. As a reminder, I have a question, the 10 days of darkness, when a lot of folks try to figure that out. But she seems to think that this is all planned out for all to see. Now, back to some more that has been happening. If you're looking at your screen, the federal grand jury in Chicago just criminally indicted Diego Reyes for ramming his vehicle into ICE agents during Operation Midway Blitz, now facing up to 20 years in prison. What this defendant did on October 4th, 2025 in Chicago was a dangerous and brazen act of violence against a federal agent, as well as an attack on the rule of law. So you're looking at your screen. That's how it played out, and that person is done. Another one, just to let you know, is remember Desiree Sagari? If you don't, the Florida woman, remember she was calling for Trump supporters to be shot? I'm not going to show you that video again. Well, she was sentenced to 13 months in prison. So you go out there, you play games, and you start pushing out information that you're going to take people out, they're going to catch you. They're going to catch you. Department of War CTO said, if you hurt Americans or planning to hurt Americans, we will find you. We will kill you, says President Donald J. Trump. That's quote 1 and 2 confirmed. You will need for coming weeks. Put it this way, 6 attempts were made to silence the witness scheduled to appear tomorrow. Special operators are on guard. So that has given us some words about the military. Maximize lethality, put out by Department of War. Also, just to let you know that your FBI has shut down a call center operation in India that defunded hundreds of elderly victims here in the U.S. and abroad out of millions of dollars through tech support scams and 2 senior executives who operated a business that enabled it. They just admitted to. So the CEO and CSO of this well-known call tracking and analytics company was downright despicable. By their own admission, they willfully profited from telemarketing and tech support scammers here and abroad who preyed on the elderly, exploited the vulnerable, and drained victims of their life savings and peace of mind. It kind of reminds me of that Beekeeper movie, doesn't it? Also, the FBI just reminded us, look at that, 2024, the violent crimes have dropped into 2025, violent crimes, drop of 1.1 million violent crimes, the largest drop in crime rate in nearly 90 years. Also, the HHS Rapid Response put out a disco ball also. So this is what we're doing now. It's what they state. Welcome to the D Party. A former judge of elections in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, has been charged and pleaded guilty to illegally adding votes for Democrat candidates in judicial races in 2014, 15, and 16. That's right. They charged against the former judge of elections, Dominic DeMuro, 73, for stuffing the ballot box for Democrats in exchange for payment by a paid political consultant. Can you imagine? They're catching just one at a time, moving on up. You know, who votes for Democrats? The criminals do, the people who support criminals, the sexual deviants, the people who support the deviants, the illegal aliens, people who support illegal aliens, people who prefer government benefits instead of working, people who make a living handing out government benefits, communists, socialists, and Islamists, drug addicts, and homeless.
Thank you, Mr. President. So do you think if Democrats were to take control of Congress again, they would immediately begin the impeachment process?
I think if Democrats took control of the Congress, I think that, and let's say took control of the country, I think that this country's finished. These people are sick. They suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, but really they have bad policy. They have horrible policy. They cheat on elections. They get elected by cheating on elections. But you would have 2 states added. They'll terminate the filibuster immediately. Republicans should do that. They'll terminate the filibuster. You'll have Washington, D.C., and you'll have Puerto Rico as a state, which will be a disaster, which would be 4 Senate seats. Tremendous numbers of electoral college votes. You will have that's really bad. but you have the destruction of our country. They want to go to 21 Supreme Court judges. That's their perfect number. They talk about 13, but they want to go to 21 Supreme Court judges. If they get in power, I think this country would be maybe finished. If I didn't win the election, I'll say this. We've become the hottest country anywhere in the world. We were a dead country 2 years ago. If I didn't win this election, we would have been a country that was essentially, I don't even know that we would have been a country any longer. They were destroying our country. They were letting hundreds of thousands, millions of people pour through our southern border, criminals, people from jails, people from mental institutions, drug dealers and drug addicts. They were sending everybody, countries were sending everybody that they didn't want by the millions, 25 million people. If I didn't win this election, I believe our country would have been finished. Thank you very much, everyone.
You know, his message is resonating with folks, and anytime he speaks and talks about somebody he wants to nominate, it plays out. And CNN covered a little bit of this.
Louisiana, are we seeing Trump's dominance there as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, this was a rare burger for Thomas Massie, and it was an extra rare burger, of course, for Bill Cassidy. I mean, this is why I say it was just such a great week for Donald Trump. Just look at this. I mean, we've spoken about this before. I asked our viewers, could you find any performance that was worse for a sitting incumbent senator who was not appointed? No, Bill Cassidy's 25% was the worst ever primary performance for an incumbent senator. My goodness gracious, all because they went against Donald John Trump. Just 25% of the worst since at least the end of World War II.
Oh, World War II. I mean, he's going all the way back. And of course, Jeremy Watson reminded us Republicans won by 18% statewide in Georgia, shift of plus 16 to Republicans. That means that the midterms will be GOP plus 20. Red MAGA, we're incoming. Another thing I just wanted to show you, the salty goat, the bottom three candidates were endorsed by the NAACP. Democrat Abigail Spanberger, Ami Bera, and Steve Cohen, all white. NAACP is into partisan politics, not black representation, because the top three candidates that I'm showing you for those listening were not. Republican Winsome Earl Sears, Republican Tamika Hamilton, and Republican Charlotte Bergman were not nominated by the NAACP. Shows you who they really are. Don't let them lie and say anything different. NAACP filled with all types of corruption. So let's get to the birthright citizenship issue.
Now we have another one coming up, which is birthright citizenship. And we're the only country in the world that has it. You step into our country and you're all of a sudden a citizen. You come in a certain way. This was not meant for Chinese billionaires to have their children become citizens of our country. This was meant, or other rich people, poor people. This was meant for the babies of slaves. This was signed right after the Civil War. You look at the dates alone, immediately after. This was having to do with the babies of slaves. And people have used it. And if this is allowed to stand, it will be a disaster economically for our country. And you'll have 25% of the people coming into our country coming in through birthright citizenship. And we won't have any control. This decision by the Supreme Court is a very big one. They'll probably rule against me because they seem to like doing that. Frankly, I'm not happy with some of the decisions. Look at NIL. Look what they've done. Look what the courts have done to college sports. They're destroying college sports. They're destroying universities. But birthright citizens, a big deal. And literally, if that's allowed to stand, and again, this was a civil war. This was right after the Civil War. And it has to do with the babies of slaves. It doesn't have to do with the babies of very rich people coming into the country. One of them came in with 57 children. Okay, 57 children. They're using the system, and it's usually people that hate our country, if you want to know the truth. Birthright citizen is done by no other country no other country in the world the way we're doing it. We're a laughing stock.
We're a laughing stock. You know, I wanted to show you this real quick from Lance's Epic Quest at Styles Beats on X. President Trump talks about Obama lining up with the drops timestamps from the keyboard. POTUS doesn't just ramble off numbers. It is intentional. So we're going to show you these numbers that he starts throwing out. He says, as he shows in this video with the real pull length and the numbers that President Trump chooses to use, nothing is random. He chose 2500 as it lines up with the current timestamp of 1225. In this instance, and his past truths this week about Barack Hussein Obama, these comms are lining up with the water, Clinton and Obama's pets, and Maggie. Big things are coming. So let's watch this for a second. I'll pause it at different points.
We have 31 fountains in Washington.
31 fountains. 31 fountains, 31 on the cue board, world stalemate. We have all the goods on everyone else. That's part of the reason why some things tied back to foreign heads of state will remain classified. We're in one of the most critical times of our country. Trump and others are working to balance the "we're doing well for America" for the common person to endorse, while at the same time purify our government. Remove the bad actors who are entrenched. And part of that, you look over on your right, coincidence? Think Wendy, coordinated the awakening, every detail accounted for, every scenario planned for. Enjoy the show. You guys know about Wendy and Hussein Obama and what was done with that girl by him. You guys know about that. If not, go look it up.
Of the 31, not one worked. Now we have 21 working, and the others are going to be fixed.
21. So you have 21 working. 21. I've dumped some crumbs like this over the weekend, which started the intense shilling. At this point, we are far enough along you can paint the picture without risk of jeopardizing the operation.
And the others are going to be fixed, and people are calling and saying, it's amazing what's happened in the fountains, and they're working top level. And
learn our comms. Remember, drop 1225. Learn how we communicate with you guys. Maggie showed with Hussein, points outline. POTUS, Wendy today, POTUS, Maggie focus, confirmation, coincidence, all about Obama.
My most exciting is the reflecting pool between the Washington Monument and the...
reflecting pool. Reflections are important on the cue board. We were told, find the reflection inside the castle. Reflections are important.
The Washington Monument, Lincoln Memorial, it's 2,500 feet long by...
It's 2,030 feet, but he used 2,500. Let me show you why.
500 feet long by almost 200 feet wide. It's a massive structure, if you think of it. It's taller than the tallest building in the world. If you sat the building down...
See that? 2,500 on the cue board says this. Everything stated has a purpose. Think timing of tweet above. Maggie, New York Times. Maggie drops. Remember Maggie. Do you believe in coincidences? Be extremely vigilant in December. See something, say something. Extreme panic is in D.C.
The tallest building in the world would not reach the end of it. It's a very big thing. It hasn't worked properly since it was built in 1922.
Those, the most, who left the White House did not have a choice. There are bad people who pretend to be good.
President Obama and Biden spent...
There's Obama. Maggie showed with Hussein. Remember the girl with Hussein, with Obama.
Hundreds of millions of dollars trying to fix it. They didn't. Of course, they couldn't do that. They didn't fix it. It was a mess. So mostly they turned it off, collecting garbage. It looked horrible. And we are very close to getting it finished. And when it's finished, it'll be beautiful. It'll be blue water, dark blue.
Watch the water.
We call it American flag blue because that's the name of the color that we chose. American flag blue. Can't do better than that. It's a rich, dark blue. And it'll be, I think, very reflective, very, very good. Big project. I decided to do a much bigger job. I was going to just get it open, but I said, let's do it right. Let's get it open and let's have it.
How do we legally introduce information? Folks, as the world turns, there's a marker. Everything has meaning. Everything. Common cue. Counted on day after DNC to initiate lawsuit pre-planned when this platform is more than simply pushing the truth. Folks, we see the numbers and how he talks. And remember that reminder when he showed this here, He mentioned what? He mentioned that the pull is 2,500 feet, but it's actually 2030. He wanted us to look at drop 2,500 on the Q board. Very interesting how these comms come out. And wanted to show you something else interesting that's been flooding the internet. If you're looking at your screen, there's a retired admiral went on Fox News with an obvious mask. You could see it.
In the eyes of the Iranian people, but the world global economy, which they're holding all hostage to, the more everybody comes to realize.
See his mask? Dr. Russell McGregor believes it's done to expose how operations are conducted. It's a wake-up event, not a mistake. So some folks would say it's a mistake, but they forgot to straighten out that mask. And you could see it. Now I'm going to show you who the real guy is in a second, so hang in there. Okay, Real Life Patriot. We were called crazy for saying Joe Biden was not Joe Biden and it was an actor in a mask. We said the same about many others, always receiving the same pushback. Here's Fox News showing us in such an obvious way that no one can deny this. The truth is coming. There's the full screen.
Little short of
there's
the
his
real,
mask. You see his mask?
The president has time on his hands. He controls the narrative.
Notice how smooth his neck is and everything for his age. So let's show you the real guy. There's the real guy. Here we are.
Well, you can't depend on Iran.
Look at his neck.
To negotiate
the real neck.
Clear conscience to try to meet any of the objectives, to adhere to the ceasefire.
General
now here's the guy with the mask.
Yesterday. Let's begin with this analysis.
You see this? There's the real neck. There's the real neck. And now we're going to the mask, the smooth neck with the cutoff, with the shadow.
Depend on Iran for anything.
There's the real neck. Just want to make sure you guys saw that.
Also this, authorities say a truck driver involved in a deadly crash in California Tuesday is an illegal immigrant. 2 people were killed when the driver allegedly veered off the road, slammed his semi-truck into 3 other vehicles. He then reportedly tried to flee the scene. Claudia Cowan has more. Hi, Claudia.
Good morning, Dana. Yeah, this was a hit and run, and pictures of the mangled cars are just horrific. Now, according to local reports, a semi-truck veered off Highway 99, that's a major thoroughfare, through Lodi, California. It slammed into a guardrail, triggering a 3-car crash that killed 2 people instantly. Authorities identified the driver of that semi as 24-year-old Manveer Singh. He's been charged with vehicular manslaughter, hit and run resulting in death or injury, and resisting a police officer. He makes his first court appearance later this afternoon. The Department of Homeland Security tells Fox that in 2023, Singh was caught and released at the Arizona border by the Biden administration.
Caught at the border and released. That's why we need ICE.
ICE also has one of the largest criminal investigative portfolios in the entire U.S. government. So a major component of ICE is Homeland Security Investigations, which is a federal criminal investigative arm with the same set and body of authorities as the FBI. They do a huge amount of work with Secret Service, for example, on protecting America from assassinations and lethal plotting. They do the lion's share of work on child trafficking, child smuggling, child pornography, also drug trafficking, counter cartel, and many other essential investigations that relate to public safety. So it is a huge threat to public safety to not have full funding for the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol. And of course, on the southern border, you're dealing with threats every day from foreign terrorist organizations that operate on and control the territory all across Mexico on the Mexican side of the U.S. southern border. ICE also
So, you don't have ICE, can't get rid of these guys. You know, when I drive through America, folks, I'm always looking at the giant 18-wheelers and I'm looking to see who's driving. I don't like to get in front of them. I don't like to be near them anymore because I wonder who's driving those bad boys. And if I see somebody that looks like this, I take off. Oh, man. Just leery about all that. Of course, we have to stay in prayer and just ask our Heavenly Father for support, too. A former CDC director is claiming the Ebola outbreak will become a significant pandemic. Remember Q Post 4306, dated May 21st, 2020. It's amazing how there's a 6-year delta. Ripcord put this out. 6 years to the day. We talked about the deltas, how they all line up so that we can go read them. And we look at May 21st, 2020. How do you convince people a vaccine is necessary, critical? U.S. data on influenza deaths are false and misleading. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, acknowledges the difference between flu death and flu-associated death, yet uses the terms interchangeably. Additionally, there are significant statistical incompatibilities between official estimates and national vital statistics data. Compounding these problems is a marketing of fear. A CDC communication strategy in which medical experts predict dire outcomes during flu seasons. Applied to COVID-19 data reports. CDC, marketing of fear, predict the dire outcomes. Sure, it's just a big coincidence. Another coincidence could be Fox saying this about the Federal Reserve new chairman.
Away now from a changing of the guard, with Kevin Warsh set to take over for Jerome Powell as chairman. The Wall Street Journal writing, quote, Kevin Warsh wants to remake the Fed. Here's what he is up against. The new chair's framework has been consistent for 2 decades. The question now is how much of it his colleagues will accept. Let's bring in former Obama economic advisor Mohammed.
How about that? You're watching the systematic destruction of the old guard. How about that? The old guard. Oh, my goodness, folks. Federal Reserve. You know, we brought this up in a interview that's actually going to drop tomorrow. Hope you guys check it out with Dr. Kirk Elliott. Unusual findings in the silver market. Central banks buying gold under the radar. They're not telling people. Oh, it's a brilliant interview. Get into a little bit of AI also. I wanted to show you this clip for tomorrow, okay?
Behind Bitcoin, right? It's like, oh boy, it's like, this is a problem. But this is where we're going. Well, what company is kind of leading the charge with quantum computing? It's IBM, right? So now other companies are going to try to get onto the quantum computing train. That's probably the next trend in AI. What does that need? Silver, and a lot of it for these really fast chips that need it, right? So here's where I'm looking at this trend and what's going on globally, and something big and unusual is starting to happen in silver. And I don't see the demand decreasing for the second most valuable commodity on earth. Oil is number 1 and silver is number 2. Right. So now.
So good stuff. You don't want to miss it. amweknow.com/gold in the description box below. You guys can go check it out. Click on that. Reach out to him and his team, and they will pray with you also. Help you with getting that fiat IRA over to precious metals. It'll change your life. And that's for sure. I wanted to show you something from Honorable Scott Turner, once again, how Senator Gillibrand treated him, and she had no idea that she would get this back from him.
I'm gone if it's still record funding and record homelessness.
You know what? After you're gone is too late for the families that are suffering in New York today. Do you know what it's like to be a homeless little girl who has to have a Girl Scout troop just for other homeless little girls because that's all they have? That's the only consistency they have in their life. So I get you have a different vision.
It's happened in my family. Yes, ma'am, I do
I
understand.
need to know
I'm not
if your
talking to you
stuff
about
is
what
working.
I've heard. I'm talking to you about what I know. And what I do know, the housing first model failed. Record funding and record homelessness. I don't care what administration it is. You would not run your own household budget this way.
I get it.
You would not run
You've been
your
in charge for
business
over a
this
year.
way.
I just want to.
So she got real quiet when she's yelling at him, do you know what it's like to be homeless? And he said, yes, ma'am, I do understand. It happened in my family. Breaks your heart when these folks, all they do is they hate President Trump so much. Instead of looking at the leader, answering asking questions in a nice, sensible way, they just want to scream and yell because everything that they've been doing to lie, cheat, and steal to, hurt all of us, it's being exposed. So they have to scream and yell because they don't want anybody to think that they have anything to hide. So what do? They attack those that have the message that really uncovers just how miserable these Democrats really are. Gillibrand should apologize to the world for that. Also, heartbreaking, the elderly Trump house owner in California. He was beat up because he has Trump flags and U.S. flags all around his house. Well, he's not expected to survive after being brutally beaten outside his home. Maria Sharon says there is no hope for her husband, Kerry, a 69-year-old Army veteran known for flying Trump and USA flags everywhere. The violence on the left has to stop. Really breaks your heart that we have come to this point where unraveling, unmasking all the snakes, unveiling all the liars out there, the Democrats, the leftists, the psychopaths out there, would get them to the point where they're going out and looking to do nothing but cause violence, hurt people, essentially killing them because they disagree with the politics that they belong to. We've gotten to a point now where no matter what we wear, what we stand for anymore, that we have to watch out for these leftist lunatics. And I believe many of these folks that behave in this way and become violent could be demon possessed. It reminds me of, once again, those that put the fuel to the fire, the mainstream media, the politicians, and more. Our hope is that they will finally be, in some way, someday, exposed for all to see of their lies. The media will be, many of them, taken away for treason, and that these folks that have caused so much pain and what have you will be repaired. Their brains will be fixed, and somehow the demons exorcised in some way. But this is where we stand. Many of you write in across this nation. I've driven across the country several times, and there's a love for our president. There's a love for America, and these are isolated cases. And we just have to be careful when we're out there now and how much we display and what we do, and ensuring that we're protected, especially through prayer. Hopefully you guys understand everything that we're watching, all that we're showing now, the fraud that's being unveiled and more. There's going to be a lot more violence playing out across the country as these folks continue to get exposed. And our hope and prayer is it won't be as bad as what we think it is, but we know we're in what's called the storm. And storms get pretty wild and cause a lot of damage. So we're keeping this video short today. We're going to go to the Lord in prayer. And we're going to remember that this is the way to make America great again.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you now. We thank you for all your continued, all that you continue to do for us through many leaders that you've assigned across many nations, and specifically in America, those leaders that are standing at the forefront and doing all they can to expose the evil, arrest these folks who have hurt so many, to guard and protect their lives. For those that are in panic mode, that are running for their lives, maybe they just turn themselves in and give up and expose all of those that are tied to them. We certainly come before you and ask that your will be done on this earth as it is in heaven. We, again, want to thank you for the daily provisions that you give us, the food, and the ability to communicate with family and friends, those that are left that talk to us. We ask that you continue to protect the president, protect the leaders, protect our military out there in harm's way. We thank you for the answer to prayer in that way. Bring this all before you in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen and amen. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we thank you for your prayers and support. It's been amazing. For now, this is LT Semper Fi with Them We Know, signing out.